Welcome, Marisa, to Raw and Cooked Vegan.
Hello, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So the way I usually start these, Marisa, is I just get into how you were raised. Like, did your family have any nutritional consciousness or health consciousness in general? Was it kind of the standard American diet thing? Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so I guess I grew up standard American diet. I have memories of coming home after middle school and making Easy Mac and processed foods, you know, crackers, chips, and everything.
Yeah.
And we only started to get really health conscious when my brother got sick when he was in the middle of high school. He started to lose all of his hair on his body real slowly, so he would get patches, and then he lost his eyebrows and all of the hair everywhere all over his body, and he started to get really sick, and he couldn't get out of bed at a certain point because he was so tired. He would come home after school and just sleep for hours. So my dad really dug deep into his research and tried to figure out what was wrong with him, because we started to go to we started to go to regular doctors first, and they were prescribing him steroids, and they were injecting him with a lot of different things, and it was only making him worse. He got to the point where he was bedridden. So we decided to take his health into our own hands, and my dad went on a 10-year mission and read all different types of books and visited natural doctors, and I guess this is where it led me with fruitarianism.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So conventional medicine never came up with a diagnosis that was accurate or a treatment that worked.
No, you know, it got to a point where nothing was working, so the doctors were just saying, you know, sorry, we don't know what to do.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we started to go to doctors such as Anthony Farrow, who is a kinesiologist, and he does functional medicine, where he would do muscle testing for certain ailments. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but
yeah.
So you'll hold, you know, a certain food or something to your solar plexus and see if your strength, if your body can handle it or not.
Yeah.
And we started to go to Dr. Chaikin, who is in Plymouth Meeting, and he tests you for all of the imbalances of minerals that you have in your body. So once we tested my brother, we decided to test everybody in my family, because the supplements that he was giving my brother was helping him. So I got an iodine test, and he said that my iodine levels were the lowest that he's ever seen.
Wow.
So I still today supplement with iodine. And going on to the subject of supplementation, I would only recommend supplementing after you've gotten tests by doctors, because that's how you truly know what your body needs, because everybody really is different. I supplement with D still, just because the tests that I got from Dr. Chaikin told me that those were the things that I needed for my body.
You know, I'm glad you say this, because I think, at least what I've read is with iodine's tricky. You got to be really careful with it. So,
it is.
So once you got tested and they recognized you were low, did they prescribe a certain kind of iodine, or did they leave the supplementation up to you?
He did. It's very specific in what he recommends. The levels are different for everybody. I have the actual little bottle that I supplement. Let me get that real quick. There's different types of iodine that you can supplement with. Some people do pill form, but I just do a drop of Lugol solution, and I put that in water. I put one drop in a bottle of water, and then I drink a little sip of it throughout the week until that bottle is gone. But you know, I wouldn't recommend doing that until somebody would get the recommendation by their doctor.
That's interesting. And let me ask you, had you, prior to that test, had you used, like, let's say, iodized salt in your diet, or eaten sea vegetables or anything like that, or?
That's one of the things that my dad had swapped out for a short period of time while we were transitioning to better health in my house. We started to use the the little
What?
salt, the
Sea salt?
it's like a sea vegetable, but it's ground up, like you said, and that's
okay. Yeah.
salt. We would use that, but we do use Himalayan crystal sea salt if we're gonna have any type of salt.
Okay. Let me ask you, it sounds like your brother had some serious issues. What about you yourself? How would you characterize your health? I mean, obviously you had this iodine deficiency, but would you say up until you had that test that you felt pretty good and you never had any serious issues?
I had hemochromatosis, which is I had my body held on to the iron that I had in my body. So naturally that was repulsing me away from meat. And I couldn't figure out why, but whenever we would have meat meals, I was sick of it. I was like, I can't eat this. I don't know why. That's just gross to me. So then we went to a doctor and got my levels measured and found out that I had hemochromatosis, which was a genetic disorder from my dad's side of the family. So naturally I was just turned away from meat. So that was when I was a junior in high school that I slowly stopped eating meat, fish, animals. So I also had anxiety, depression. I had terrible acne. It was all over my back and my arms and my face. And I would also take prescriptions from doctors for that for a while, but they made me go crazy. So I had to stop doing that.
I realized you kind of gave up meat. Were you still eating dairy when you gave up meat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say that I slowly transitioned from eliminating pig and cow to just eating fish. So I went to pescatarian, then I went to vegetarian, then I went to kind of vegan, but I would still eat dairy occasionally. And only once I went to Raw Till 4, I went 100% vegan, I would say.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I had developed an eating disorder when I would say, freshman in college. I just fell into like a trap of, wanting to be skinny.
Yeah, very common for a lot of young women, yeah.
Yeah. And I got mental clarity as soon as I changed my diet also. I was just like mind fog all the time, shy, depressed.
Let me step back a little bit. Did the time when your dad started really researching diet and kind of changing diet for the family, at what age in your life did that occur?
That was when we were in high school.
Okay.
Right after my brother got sick, I'd say he was a junior and I was a freshman in high school.
And did your dad find any connection between illness and the eating of animal products?
Specific animal products. So we started to not eat like bottom feeders, which are fish that live at the bottom of the ocean because they eat all of the I guess like nasty materials at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
So and then we started to eat like free range, grass fed. We paid attention to foods that had the highest rates of genetically modified organisms, and we wouldn't eat those. We would eat things with the least amount of pesticides and things that were in season. And in terms of animal products, yeah, so it was specific. And we changed from eating cow's milk to raw goat milk.
Yeah.
Things that were not pasteurized.
Uh-huh.
And had their living enzymes. So
what did you think of that? What did you think of the goat milk the first time you tried that?
I didn't mind it. Whenever friends came over my house, they were like, "What's that?" It would taste nasty, but I mean, I was used to it. So.
No, that's actually really smart because I think goat's milk is much closer to human milk in composition, but very interesting. So did your dad's efforts in his nutritional studies, did that result in improving your brother's health?
Yeah, so he only after, let's see, he is now 24 and he got really sick years ago, or maybe like 10 years ago, and now, but only now is he starting to grow his hair back slowly. So,
Wow.
Within the past couple of weeks, we're starting to see a little bit of hair coming back.
Wow.
So
And has
it
anybody...
really takes a long time, diet change, which is the main thing, and then finding out, what imbalances that you have in your body.
So do you think that his issues were primarily nutritional deficiencies?
Well, my dad and my brother, see, I remember just being in the car and hearing my brother and my dad have these long conversations about health and diet and nutrition. I guess that's how I got interested in it, just being around them and listening to their conversations. And I guess I took it further by starting to do my own research. And they found that the main thing that was wrong with him was he had a bacterial imbalance because he had taken so many antibiotics that all of the bacteria in his body were completely gone. And, we have more bacteria in our body than cells. So bacteria is very important, and it's one thing that a lot of people do not recognize. So he started to supplement with bacterial, just like probiotics instead of antibiotics. And that's, I think, the main thing that started to help him out.
All right. Now, it's interesting. You kind of went on a vegetarian bend pretty early, like your junior year in high school, maybe?
Yeah.
And when you did that, did your parents, were they supportive? Were they saying that that's too extreme, Marisa? What happened when you made that transition?
I don't remember anything, like any type of like serious controversy with my family about it, because they were, I don't know, really into health, and they're very accepting of whatever I do. So.
Cool. Did any of them pursue vegetarianism, or did they all continue to eat meat?
They still eat meat, except for my sister. I believe she's vegan now.
Okay.
But they just don't eat as much as they used to. Like I think they might have maybe a couple dinners that include salmon a week, but not as much. We used to have it every day, every night.
Okay. And when you made these initial changes in high school, I mean, it sounds like they coincided with some of these diagnoses that you were getting where doctors were recommending that you do some supplementation. So it might be hard to know which variable affected what, but did you notice any benefits to your health when you got off of, say, meat?
Yes. I didn't have any hemochromatosis anymore. I went to the doctor and they said, who told you had hemochromatosis? Because you don't have it anymore, or we don't see it, at least. It doesn't show up. So my hemochromatosis went away from reducing my amount, completely eliminating meat from my diet. I didn't have to take depression medications. My anxiety reduced. All of my acne went away. Well, all of my acne went away once I took out meat and dairy.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
That
was like me.
Dairy is the big one for acne.
Yeah, totally. And this will amaze you. Well, maybe it won't amaze you because you probably had the same experience. When I was in high school, I had pretty bad acne, and I did the tetracycline and Minocin, and and who knows what damage that caused. But I remember talking to this dermatologist, and one of the things he said is, "Oh yeah, diet has nothing to do with acne."
My doctor said the same thing.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
I mean, these are professional people. I mean, of course, I was eating at McDonald's like every day. Of course, I had acne. I mean,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah. I see a direct connection between diet and acne.
Yeah.
I mean, now, I was on raw till 4 for an entire year before I transitioned to 100% raw, and I've been 100% raw for the past 5 months now.
Wow.
And I noticed that my acne went away when I was on raw till 4. So, and that was only when I completely eliminated dairy from my diet that, I saw. I don't take face washes anymore. I used to do Proactive and I would do face scrubs and salt water.
Yeah, your skin looks great. Looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you kind of became vegetarian in high school, and then would you say by the time you hit college, you were pretty much getting rid of the dairy?
Yeah. I was eating almond milk and coconut ice cream. They have that thing, which is no dairy. And
yeah.
Yeah, I would only have dairy maybe like once in a blue moon.
Okay.
Can
I ask you, what's that?
I wouldn't have it on a regular basis. Like, I didn't have yogurts and things like that. But I still had a lot of acne, so yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Only eliminating it completely is when all of my acne went away for good.
I wonder if that might be related to fat intake. Did you reach a point in your education about veganism where you decided to reduce the fat intake?
Yeah, I never focused on that until I went 100% low-fat raw vegan. So in September, so 4 months ago, I went 100% raw because one of my friends, Grantham Taylor Hughes and Gabriella Foster, they're 100% low-fat raw vegans, and they've been raw for 8+ years now. And he's my mentor. And I met him up at Arnold's Way in Lansdale, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that. Yeah, I go to their monthly potluck.
Yeah, I love Arnold. He's a great guy. I interviewed him. And I'd love to interview your friends. So if you could connect us, that'd be awesome.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So anyway, I met Grantham and Gabriella when I was at the potlucks, and I was talking with him on the phone one night, and he was like, "What are you eating?" And I was like, "I'm having rice." And he's like, "Throw it out. You know it's bad for you. This is inflammatory. You know cooked food is bad." So I was like, well, I guess the reason why I still eat cooked food is because I don't know what's wrong with it. Like, tell me, what is wrong with eating rice at dinner? And he said, well, it's cooked, and once you cook your food, that kills 80% of the living enzymes, so you're eating enzymeless nutrition. So if you want the maximum nutrition per calorie that you eat, then you want to eat the foods that are raw with living enzymes. And I'm just like, wow, okay, that makes so much sense now. How can I go back? Okay, so I did it. That was the day, October 23rd. Never ate cooked food again. And
all right. Now, I'll let you know if you don't already. I do eat a good bit of cooked food still, so I'm not like strictly raw or anything. I'm kind of like I'm supportive of people who are totally raw, supportive of people who are cooked vegans. To me, veganism is the thing. We're all in this together. We're gonna flip the community over. But I do, and I totally want to hear about your experience going around. It sounds like it was really positive. Can I ask you a few questions about the eating disorder, or is that too personal?
No, we can talk about that. I mean, it was very brief. It was only maybe for a year when I was in college. Started my freshman year, went to my sophomore year, and I just got into a cycle where I was trying to lose weight, and I couldn't figure out, the right way to do it, because after high school, I stopped doing my intense cheerleading and gymnastics and horseback riding and all the big sports that I was doing, so I guess I might have been more sedentary. But I started to work out a lot more, and that helped, but it still wasn't, enough for me, so I just tried to restrict my calories, and then I would get really hungry, and then I would eat, and then I would binge, and it just became a cycle. And then I started to realize that I was like, wait, what am I doing? Stop. Because if you keep doing this, it's just gonna get worse and worse for yourself. So I just completely stopped doing that. After a year, I just snapped myself out of it.
Good for you. Good for you. I wonder if you could share with us a little bit of what it's like to have that pressure. It's kind of nice when you're like a raw food vegan like you are, because now it's like it's not even an issue, right? But,
I love it. I can eat as much as I want.
Yeah, but maybe for girls who are not there, and they're either eating cooked vegan or perhaps eating a lot of calories, or maybe even eating standard American diet, maybe you could say something about the pressure that brings a girl to that point where they actually start doing things that harm themselves to get this kind of ideal body. What's the pressure of that about? Because I guess girls are looking at each other and assessing their beauty, and of course, you know, they want guys or girls to appreciate their beauty. What is that pressure about? Can you describe that?
I don't know. I never felt pressure. I was never comparing myself to other people. I guess I just wanted like the best version of myself, and I just was like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But that's pretty amazing. Like after a year, you were just like, I'm not doing this anymore, and you just like through willpower, you stopped. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, the only way that I really would have stopped is by coming across, I'd say, Freely and Fully Raw Christina's channels. And, you know, I saw that they were experiencing results that I wanted, and they weren't doing it through, you know, harsh measures like I was. So I wanted the most sustainable way to look and feel my best. So I started to follow what they did. And at first, Fully Raw Christina's channel was great, and I was doing a few recipes from her. Me and my sister were following what she was doing, but
yeah.
There was, for me, no way I would have been able to go, you know, 100% like she was. So I think that once I found Freely Banana Girl's channel was only then I was able to actually, like, increase the amount of raw foods that I was eating seriously and going 100% vegan.
You know, I love the point you're making here, Marisa. It's like, looking back, you felt like it was good that you had this transitional phase, right? It's like
definitely.
You know, this is a great point for viewers who are maybe considering this lifestyle. It's like, don't be too hard on yourself. You don't have to do it overnight. Give yourself time. I mean, I was like vegetarian for like 25 years, and then I became vegan. So, you know, and that's probably, you can do it faster than that, of course, but it's like, don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself permission to gradually shift to this new way of living.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I could have done it any other way, because it's like a slow accumulation of like, you know, knowledge and like understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. You don't want to just like jump right into something and without, you know, the proper understanding behind it all.
Exactly. All right. So tell us a little bit about transitioning from cooked to fully raw. Was when you finally did that, and I guess you've been like that for about 4 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a difficult transition to make? Is it easy for you to get the kind of fruit that you need? Are you eating, say, 2,000 calories a day, 3,000? What are you concerned with that? Tell us a little bit about that.
So when I was on Raw Till 4 last year, I wasn't really counting my calories, but the way that I got onto Raw Till 4 was I was looking at Freely's channel. I was looking at her videos every night, watching her videos. I was like, okay, how am I going to start this? Get a box of bananas. So I went to Produce Junction, which is a produce distributor right across the street from me, and I got a box of bananas. And, you know, I wasn't even concerned with organic because I'm in college right now. I'm not concerned with pricing. That's something that I can deal with later on.
Yeah.
And I just went on mono fruit, what is it called? Banana Island for 2 months. I wouldn't eat anything but bananas. And then after that is when I started to eat cooked dinners of rice. So I would have fruit until 4 p.m. and then I would have a cooked meal of just rice. And after doing that for a year, started to go to Arnold's potlucks and met my friend. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without watching Freely's videos every night and going to these potlucks and hearing all these success stories of people healing these crazy diseases and having mentors. You know, if it wasn't for Grantham calling me and talking with me on the phone every night, I wouldn't have been motivated to stop eating cooked food because, you know, why not?
Wow. Can you say that full name again for me?
Grantham Taylor Hughes.
Grantham Taylor Hughes. Okay.
Yes, he has a blog talk radio show that's an international, has an international audience. And he talks about politics on there, but he's also into the diet and nutrition.
Very cool. And when you go to Arnold's Way, do you kind of have a choice as to whether or not you'll eat totally raw or some cooked? I think, do they offer a little bit of cooked food in the potlucks, or is it all raw or what?
His potlucks are 100% raw.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you. I'm going to throw a couple of nutrients at you. We've kind of already addressed iodine. There's two more I want to hear your personal conclusions on. The first is vitamin B12.
Okay, B12 I was supplementing with when I had received my test results back from Dr. Chaikin saying that I was low in B12. So, but like I said, I mean, everybody has deficiencies. It just depends on your specific body type. So I wouldn't recommend going out and supplementing with B12 right away. But, and not all vegans and vegetarians are deficient in it. Some meat eaters are deficient in it. It comes from the soil, as you know. It's a bacteria in the soil, and animals get the B12 through eating, their foods. So if you want the maximum amount of B12 in your diet, you should go to the same food source that the animals are getting it from. So I am going to start, I haven't yet, but using coconut meat as my source of B12, because that has a lot of B12 in it apparently. But I don't supplement with B12 right now just because I ran out of my supplements. But.
Hey, fill me in on that because I haven't heard of that. Coconut meat has a lot of B12?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's just something that I researched and read through my findings.
Now that's interesting because that's inside the coconut, right? So you crack open the coconut and you're saying the flesh has high levels of B12.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right. The other vitamin I'm kind of interested in is vitamin D. What's your take on vitamin D?
I supplement with 1 drop of D2 every morning in my smoothies. Okay. And that was just because my doctor said that I was low in it. So it yeah. Okay. It was just one of the supplements that I continued to use because I have a bottle of it. And
all right. Could I ask you about ovulation and stuff related to that? Because sometimes I know women experience some significant changes when they go raw, mostly in a positive direction.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that yourself?
So, yeah. When I was on Raw till 4, I never had gotten intense cramps my entire life, and I didn't notice a difference in my flow until I was like a year into Raw till 4, and I started getting these intense cramps. I think it was because I was overeating on the rice. I wasn't paying attention to how much cooked food I was having, but so I would get these intense cramps, and I went to an herbalist, and she said to start having tea of red raspberry leaf tea. But she said you can't just have 1 cup of that and your cramps will go away, because I was having intense cramps. She said you have to, be taking 1 cup once a week for an entire month to start to have the minerals in the red raspberry leaf build up in your body. So after I started to do that, just 1 cup a week for a month, I had no cramps anymore.
Very interesting. And that's
raspberry
tea?
Yes, red raspberry leaf tea. And then once I went 100% raw, I didn't even have to use that. So I don't use anything anymore, and I don't have any cramps, and my flow is really light.
That's a very interesting bit of information, because you never had cramps even on a SAD diet. You never had cramps on various vegetarian diets, and you didn't until you were doing a Raw till 4 thing. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean,
That's interesting.
I'd say that they got more intense. I don't know.
Yeah. I have seen, there are apparently some rice can have high levels of arsenic. I don't know if that...
Okay, maybe that's why. I was only eating 1 type of rice every single night for like a year. It was that sticky rice.
Okay, yeah.
So it's possible.
All right. Yeah. Well, very interesting. Okay, so there's 2 other areas I'd like to hear your thoughts on, stuff that maybe you've learned along the way. They're huge, and, we'll just do a little bit on each one. But it sounds like your primary motivation in terms of nutrition has been your personal health. What have you learned along the way in terms of ethics, the ethical treatment of animals? Is that important to you, and do you see that as a piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, I think that paying attention to the ethics really ground me and helped me realize that there is another aspect to this than my health. My health is probably the reason why I got interested in this. If I couldn't go out and kill an animal, why would I pay someone else to do it for me? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable for the environment also. That's another biggie for me. The factory farming of cows is contributing to so much global warming that it doesn't make sense to me to even continue.
Exactly. Yeah, and my next question was environment, so I'm glad you tied that in.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's great. No, it's perfect. It's perfect because they're just two huge aspects of this. You sometimes hear people advocating like a paleo diet, and they try to advocate it on health terms, which I think is not an arguable position, but they try to. But they never address the ethics and the environment. I mean, it's like, even if it were true, which I don't think it is, even if it were true that a paleo diet was healthy, it fails on the ethical and the environmental front. So.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a big research project right now as part of my senior thesis, where I'm an artist. I paint, so I'm painting a series of fruit trees in hopes that I'll get a fruit forest installed on my campus. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I've researched a lot, and I've found that fruit is the most sustainable way to produce food for human consumption because it's the most yielding substance per acre. So it produces a lot, and it doesn't, have a lot of bad effects on the environment like the animal waste does. And it takes something like 2,000 gallons of water to produce an 8-ounce steak meal. And with that same amount of water, you can produce, I think, like 80 oranges or something like that, which is like 5 to 6 fruit meals. So
yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I think it's true that grains are dramatically better than raising animals in terms of what you can produce and how many people you can feed, and then fruit orchards takes it up another level. Because you've got like you're using three-dimensional space when you have orchards. It's not just a flat, land of production of, say, wheat or oats. But,
yeah, and it takes so much water to raise the crops to feed to these animals and to give water to the animals to drink, that if you use that water and grew the food and fed the food directly to the people as opposed to the animals, you could feed and heal global starvation 3 times over. That was
beautiful point. Thank you. Yes.
Research page that I read. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And did you say that you're trying to get fruit trees planted on your campus?
I am. There's a project in Philadelphia called the Philadelphia Orchard Project, POP, and they work with nonprofits or just student organizations or people interested in installing a fruit forest anywhere, and they supply the trees for free in return of just having somebody to be able to report back to them on how much food is being yielded by those plants. So I was hoping that I would be able to get some fruit trees installed, and a student organization would be able to take the produce, report to them how much is being created, and then give that to an either a nonprofit or like a food bank or something.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right. Welcome back, Marisa. Yeah, I've got this funky software, and it's like I have to be careful. The files get so big.
Understand.
But that is so cool. That's a great project. You know, I was up in Philly a long time ago, and I remember they had these beautiful open air markets. So I bet with a little walking around, you could probably get some good connections for large quantities of produce.
Yes. Right next to me, there's a series of shops. Well, they call themselves Produce Junction. I think they have like 4 stores in our area, and I haven't seen produce cheaper anywhere right now. But I can get a box of bananas, which is 100 bananas, for only $14.50.
Wow!
And I was getting my rice, a huge bag of it, for like $20. It is seriously the cheapest diet on the planet. I was saving so much money when I was there. But yeah, so the produce there is pennies.
That's
like,
incredible.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, Philly's like a huge hub for trucks, and you guys have a great selection there.
We really do.
Yeah.
And they have some neat Asian markets where I can get durian and jackfruit and mangosteen. So I've tried all of those tropical fruits, but I haven't actually went to those tropical areas yet. I know it's bad because I heard that they probably spray those things to, you know, keep them from, they preserve them on their ship over, but heck, it's better than that.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to eating cows. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
All right,
So, you know, some people will go out for ice cream. I'll go to the Asian market and get my durian.
Yeah, I think that's really, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
So, yeah, and I think too, as more people like yourself come out into the community, it's going to push the demand for fruit and quality fruit. And it's going to gradually shift to where it's I hope, to more organic and more lower prices because there'll be more production.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I can't wait to see that happen. And it already started. It's starting to happen now. So
it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
You reminded me when I used to live in Northern Virginia, and there was a place near where I was living where they had these wild mulberry trees, and they had some. I think they were wild. I'm not. That's okay. And there was okay. Had these mulberry trees, and then there were some pear trees as well. And there's something psychologically really satisfying about going out into nature and picking your fruit off the tree. There's something primal about it, something really beautiful about it. There's like a peacefulness to it. And have you ever had mulberries? They're incredible when they're ripe.
I love mulberries. I haven't had them 100% ripe, but I get them dried, slightly dried.
Yeah.
From Whole Foods, and then I use banana milk, which is just blending bananas and water, and that's like my granola cereal. I used to eat that every morning,
Beautiful.
so I don't get to miss that.
Beautiful. All right, so we've kind of covered a lot. Let me think now. Oh, this is what I want to ask you. So, in your case, you were kind of fortunate because your dad had been looking into nutrition and considering it, you know, for a long time. So you probably haven't had the difficulty that some other people have had. But can you talk a little bit about how you interact with family members and, say, friends and out in public, going out to dinner or something like that, and eating the way that you do? How do you live knowing what you know, and how do you decide when to share that information, when not to share it, that kind of thing?
Okay, so it's really just sensitive to the group of people that you're with. But if you can tell that certain people have strong views against, you know, about certain subjects, then I don't want to have input in the conversation just because I know it's going to create an argument. And for the sake of, you know, keeping the humanity, I don't want to get into arguments with people when we're out to eat. It's not necessary. So I just, you know, refrain and do my own thing. Family, they're very accepting of it, which not many, you know, people have that, which I'm very grateful for. But, yeah, I would say that, when I was vegetarian, it was pretty, well, at first it seems hard because you're not used to it. But now looking back, I mean, vegetarianism is simple because every menu has vegetarian options at this point. There's salads, there's falafel. You can go to so many different places and get these delicious vegetarian meals. But veganism wasn't hard. There's so many vegan places. I guess because I live near a city also, like, it's so nice because Philadelphia has so many different vegan and vegetarian places. But if you're looking for a restaurant, say you have like a group of friends that you go out to dinner with, and it's your turn to pick the restaurant you're going to go to for that week, go to happycow.com, and you can type in any dietary preference that you have, and it will give you a list of all the different restaurants in your area that have a menu geared towards that specific thing.
That's a great reference. I've seen that site. That's great.
Yeah.
Do you, let's see, have you ever experienced a bit of frustration, knowing what you know about the effects of this lifestyle on health and what tremendous things it's capable of in terms of health, and seeing either a relative or a friend who's ill, and they can't accept the principles that you want to share with them? Is that at all frustrating?
It is, and when some of my family members see this interview, they're gonna probably already know what I have to say about it. But I don't ever want to push somebody into doing this, because I wouldn't do it if somebody pushed it on me. I only did it because it's something that I gradually came upon and found through my own research. And the best thing that you can do is I only give advice when somebody asks me for it.
Yeah.
I don't go out and impose it on others. But so say if you have a family member that's sick or something and she asks me for advice or what I should do or what she should do, then I'll help her. Or like before Christmas, we gave one of my relatives who's sick a blender so she can have her green smoothies in the morning. Because it's really important to get your chlorophyll in because it keeps you satisfied and you get all of your nutrients, which is why the satisfaction comes from it. And you can, so that's definitely a big important factor to health is the green
great.
smoothie, which is something that anybody can implement in their life. A green smoothie in the morning, simple,
Beautiful. Give us an example of ingredients you would put into one of your typical morning smoothies.
So recently I've been paying attention to food combining a lot. So in the morning I'll have sweet fruits and greens. So I'll put bananas, dates, maybe 3 bananas, a couple dates, and a head of romaine lettuce, because I want to make sure that I get a pound of greens in every single day. So the easiest way for me to get that sometimes is through smoothies. Just blend it up, drink it, simple. And with all the fruit in there, it's sweet and it's delicious. And then
does that get a little foamy with the romaine, or is it?
It does, yeah. I found that one out through Tanny Raw. I've been watching a lot of her videos, and I only put collards, spinach, or what's the other one I do? Collard, spinach. Those are the two. Kale, yeah, that I do right now, because I've noticed that with romaine it gets very bubbly.
Yeah. You'll probably know the answer to this. Lately I've seen a few things about kale that, of course, it has a lot of tremendous benefits. Some people say a lot of kale can affect the thyroid, which might be related to iodine. Have you seen anything on that?
Well, I noticed that when I put a lot of kale in my smoothies, I get like supercharged energy and I run around like crazy. You get so much done that day. But in terms of like my iodine levels, I don't know if it's that serious where you can notice an increase in my iodine levels right away like that.
Gotcha. All right.
That's not a problem.
Let me ask you about a few other aspects of health. Do you drink a lot of water during the day? Do you feel, since you're eating a lot of raw, that you don't need as much water? What is your take on water?
So Grantham is the one that really got me on the water. For a while right when I started going 100% raw, he had me on 2 gallons of water a day. I went from 1 gallon to 2 gallons of water, which is a lot of water. It's hard to get that much in one day, but
that's crazy.
So he told me that the reason why is because you need 1 ounce per pound. You need 1 ounce of water per pound of body weight, because that flushes out your system. It gives you mental clarity, which it did. You know, I was on point. I felt so, you know, clear-headed when I was doing that, but I only did that for 2 weeks because it was really hard for me to sustain. So right now I do a half a gallon of water, which is 64 ounces, which isn't my complete body weight, but it's still a lot of water, and I would recommend a lot of water because during those 2 weeks that I was doing 2 gallons of water, my skin, it was clear, but it got it was glowing, and I was getting compliments on my skin after 1 week of doing that.
Wow.
3 people in one day. It was weird, but people are like, Marisa, what are you doing? You're glowing. It's like, we're working on that. Yeah, so if you want glowing skin, I would recommend putting up the water as much as you can.
Now, that's cool. The only thing, I mean, you end up going to the bathroom all day, right? I mean, you spend a lot of time in the bathroom, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But heck, if it's for your health, do it. Yeah. I mean, I put my health above everything.
All right. Yeah. All right. How about sleep? Do you try to get to bed early, get up early? Do you try to get a certain number of hours? What's your take on sleep?
I noticed that if I don't get adequate sleep, I eat a lot more the next day. Huh. And because I'm finding that I'm really tired, and I'm trying to keep my energy up by, stimulating it through food. So I make sure that I go to bed. I was doing 8:30 every night for a while. Now I'm leaning towards 9, 10. But yeah, I would definitely recommend getting as much sleep as you can. So at least 8, 9, 10 hours, if you ask me.
Okay. And then, let's see, what was the other thing? Well, one thing I'd like to hear your thoughts on, if someone was just considering this for the first time, perhaps they're moving from SAD or maybe a vegetarian diet towards something a little more low-fat and a little more raw, what would be some of your tips for somebody to transition more easily?
I would say don't go into it too fast, but maybe just start with changing one meal, so a green smoothie in the morning, or having a green smoothie with whatever else you eat, but just having, bananas and greens in a smoothie is so satisfying, and you're going to love it. My parents actually do that. They're not even vegetarians, but they love their green smoothies in the morning, and they notice that it gives them a lot of energy. So, and it sustains them until lunch. They don't feel hungry. So I would recommend a green smoothie. If you want to go from vegetarian, vegan to 100% raw, I would recommend getting a box of bananas. Upping your greens, super important. And
Marisa, when you did your 2-month Banana Island, did you eat any lettuce, or was it all bananas?
It was all bananas.
Wow. And
I wanted to I was also kind of still in that eating disorder phase a little bit. So okay. Banana Island was helping me to get out of the mental framework of either purging my food or restricting my calories.
That's an interesting point, and there is something to the simplicity of it. It's like you don't really have to think; you just eat bananas, So there's something, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I was just eating as much as I wanted, and that just helped me get my mental clarity back, because I was just lost in this merry-go-round of paying so close attention to what I was eating and how much I was eating, or I was just eating too much and purging instead.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure if I answered that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay.
All right. I think we've pretty much covered everything. It's fun though. I want to keep going. Is there anything? Oh, I wanted to ask you. What are you majoring in?
So I'm majoring in fine arts, and I'm specializing in painting.
Painting, right? Okay. Do you have what's your medium? Do you use oils, acrylic, watercolor?
At St. Joseph's University, it's a small arts program, so I haven't had experience too much with oils. So I work a lot with acrylic. I have taken some classes at Tyler School of Art in oils, but I focus on acrylics, and I do some charcoal drawings, and I'm working a little bit with clay now. So
very cool, very cool. You know, there's an interesting discussion about what makes good art, and you might be the right person to say something on this. What for you is good art?
In my opinion, art is something that's inspirational, and when you look at it, it gives you a positive response. Not a lot of artists would agree with that. A lot of artists think that, you know, everything can be art, or, you know, everybody really does have their own opinions on that question, but
yeah.
I was looking at some artwork by Mac Adam. If you look up her, she's an artist based out of Japan who does these crochet pieces, where she had a show one time where she was showing these big crochet structures that she creates, and children came by and ran right up it and started climbing on it, and she was, instead of freaking out like, oh my gosh, this isn't supposed to happen, she was just like, she had a light bulb moment and realized, wow, like, we're in a city right now, there's not many playgrounds and parks for children to play, and every child in these homes are mostly only children, so the only time they really have to play with each other is, you know, through playgrounds, which aren't prevalent, and so she decided to create these big playgrounds out of these crochet structures for the children mainly, which to me, after reading that story, is very inspirational.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So,
is it?
I would say she's an inspiration to me.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I'm curious about. It seems, you know, with so much technology available now, a lot of artists, I guess, go into the graphic arts and computer design. Is there still a significant role for folks who are working in more traditional mediums, or is it kind of like you have to cultivate this ability on the computer also?
There's probably more jobs out there for people that have computer abilities, but yeah, there's also a lot of ways in which you can make a living as an artist with the traditional mediums. So I was talking with a friend yesterday who, I do monthly art demonstrations at a bar. So I'll do live painting at a bar, and I have a model come in. So, and the model gets paid by the bar. So if you're interested in the fine arts, you could be a live painting model. Or she has a friend who goes to cancer treatment centers, and she does sketches of portraits for the people that are getting their injections laying in their beds.
Cool.
Yeah, so, and that the treatment center pays her for that.
Very,
yeah,
that's
you
really
could,
interesting.
You could have your own artwork up at different galleries. You could be a curator. There's a lot of different options.
That's really neat. And when you do this drawing at the bar, is she like doing different poses, and you're just doing a bunch of different sketches, and people are kind of watching you, and do they give you tips watching you, or do they ask you to do them as well, that sort of thing?
I get some commissions through the bar, but while I'm there, I just do one painting of her in one position.
Okay, cool. So it's kind of like somebody gets to watch you do it from start to finish.
Yes. And sometimes I don't complete it all the way. Maybe the next month then I'll complete it with her. But so people ask me the process as I'm painting and ask me questions about how it's done and how long it took me to gain the skill, which it's something that I've always been good at since I was young. I was always winning like little drawing. You would create a bookmark at the local library near me, and they'd be entered into a contest, and I always won those when I was like in elementary school. I won the front cover of a few yearbooks when I was in high school and middle school, and yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Can you? This is kind of a broad question, but I think it might be interesting. Can you say something about the psychological fulfillment that comes from creating something and making something artistically, and how it's kind of related to growing yourself as a person?
I would say that it's important for me, at least, because it's something that I can release my mental thoughts onto, and I don't have to keep everything inside my mind. I can't really live without it. When I went to Penn State for 2 years, and then I transferred to St. Joe's, and when I was at Penn State, I found myself always like doodling and drawing in my books and papers, and I would hang pictures on the walls that I created, and I was like, wait, what am I doing? I need to do art, because that's just what I felt so inclined to do. But
that's cool. That's cool.
It's sort of a release, and it's so important for children to be able to express their imaginations and their creative side.
That's beautiful.
Part of it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, Marisa, can you share with the viewer any YouTube channels you have, any websites you have, any references, books you'd like to recommend, any of that sort of thing?
Okay, so let's start off with my channels. I just started a YouTube channel, Marisa Angela, and I have an Instagram, Marisa Angela 071, and what else? Books that I recommend: 80-10-10 by Dr. Douglas Graham.
Okay.
The Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation by Andre Muritz. He has a really good detox regimen in there called the liver flush, which saved my dad's life, basically, because he had a pain in his side chronically for his entire life, and only once he did this flush, that pain just completely went away. And it uses products that are already in your home. It's very cheap and inexpensive.
That's interesting. Did your father see gallstones come out?
They were these yeah. So my whole family has done it, and it's like a week-long regimen where you drink apple juice, a certain amount of apple juice for the entire week, and then the last week you drink Epsom salts with like olive oil and grapefruit juice, and these stones flush out of your body. Whether you think that you are completely clean or not, they still come out, and they're like this big. Sometimes they're really small. You can get some big things out of there, and they're these big stones, and they come out of your body, and it's like, where do they come from? You don't even feel like you're sick, but they come out of your liver. It's like crazy.
It's very interesting you bring this up, because I've done that cleanse myself, and
really?
Yeah, some critics claim that these things that are coming out are some kind of chemical combination between lemon juice and olive oil, but I want to tell the viewer that these are not.
It's not created. I know a lot of people think that, but if that was the case, then why did my dad's pain go away in his side?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
People are curing things from it, so it's not. Even if it was created, heck, at least the pain in my dad's side went away.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right.
That's the process.
All right. So that's Andrew Moritz, and then any other references?
I would say Mercola.com is a great natural site to subscribe to, get daily emails about different health finds if you just want to get more into health in general.
Does he advocate more fat in the diet? He's not vegetarian, is he?
No, he's not. He recommends a lot of different things, but compared to the standard American diet, I would say that it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. I like that.
So, let's see. I would suggest getting tests for heavy metals and iodine and your levels of D12 or vitamin D and B12 before you go out supplementing. There's a lot of controversy on the water thing. Have you heard of that? Some people are saying that you shouldn't drink water because water actually has some pollutants in it, and the most natural form of water is found in fresh, whole, ripe, raw fruits and vegetables. But, I mean, if you eat cooked food, then I guess you should. I'm not sure. I was just reading an article on that. But, I mean, I still drink water, but I'm not even sure now if I should recommend it because I'm starting to, like, read these articles on reasons why you shouldn't, but I don't know. I would recommend still drinking water because I've had such great effects from it, clearing up my skin, and it helps you lose weight. I guess I have to look into it, though.
I was thinking of bringing it up with you earlier because I totally hear the positive experiences you've had. My thing has always been, you know, if you are getting a lot of water from your foods, it means you're not going to need as much extra water. And I also think of the body. You know, the body is kind of like a giant filter, and it has a life. And if you overuse the kidneys, that's a strain. So it's like I do think I should probably be drinking more water. I don't drink a lot of water, but I don't know about these huge quantities. I think that's a bit excessive. Now, your clear skin and the clarity of mind is an indicator that maybe that's the way to go. I don't think primates drink a lot of water. I think they get most of their water from their natural food. So
yeah. Another thing I've noticed is it also depends on the environment that you're in. So where I am, it's a cold climate with dry air. But if I was in the tropics, maybe I would be getting my water through taking baths in rivers, and you would be absorbing it through your skin, and you would be inhaling it through the humidity in the air. But here I don't have that, and I take showers, and I don't get it through my air and things like that. So I think, you know, drinking it is another way to get it in.
That's an excellent point. I remember somebody telling me when you take a shower, you absorb like a pound or a couple of pounds of water. So that's a great point. If you're out in nature and you got this pristine water coming in through your skin, yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. And one other thing, you do take a little bit of iodine. You do take a little vitamin D. Is there any other supplements that you add to your diet?
No, but soon I will probably be maybe doing more B12. I'm not sure. I have to go back to my doctor and get my levels checked again and see what's up. But right now, that's just what I do.
When you get your blood tested, what are your EFA levels like?
EFA?
Your essential fatty acids?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's been years.
Okay.
So
it's not really a concern. Do you add flax or chia to your smoothies?
I don't. I'll have occasional chia seeds, maybe like a fourth of a tablespoon in lemon water in the morning, but I haven't really paid attention to that. No.
Okay. All right. Well, Marisa, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close this up?
I think I covered everything. You know, people that are watching this probably already know, but I would recommend to watch Tanny Rawls' YouTube videos because she is one of the only people that really talks about upping the greens, which I have found to be a tremendous help in my life. I noticed weight loss more prevalent once I started to increase my greens and not just eat fruit, and mental clarity and happiness, and everything was starting to fall together once I increased my greens. So thank you, Tanny Raw.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love her.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you have any questions about this diet and its abilities to heal any illness whatsoever, you can go to Arnold's Way's YouTube channel, and he has testimony after testimony about things that have been cured. Or if you're in the Lansdale, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, you can come to our monthly potlucks there. and see all the success stories for yourself, because it's amazing.
That's great. And can people contact you, Marisa, if they have a question about something?
Yes, I would love to answer any questions anybody has. You can email me, marisaangela071@gmail.com.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, fantastic. It's a real pleasure. I'm so glad we got to connect, and it's great to hear your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. All right. Take care, Marisa. Take care.
Bye.